Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. And in today's video we have this 2023 BMW 330e and we're going to do the taillight tint installation for this vehicle. So as you can see, this is how it looks before the installation. It's just your regular factory taillight lens. And this is how it looks after the installation. So the tint has PPF properties, which means it will protect the lenses from yellowing over time, as well as protect it from any small scratches or any road debris that might hit the lens. If you like the product, link for the product will be down in the description below. But with that being said, let's get started with the installation video. So the tools you need in order to install the tint kit will be Slip Solution, Tack Solution, a heat gun, squeegee, and a microfiber towel. And a step-by-step guide in order to create the two solutions will be in the description below. So before starting the installation, we want to make sure that we prep the taillight. So to prep it, just apply Slip Solution onto the lens. And with the clean microfiber towel, just go all around and start removing any contaminants that the taillight might have. So to start the installation, we're going to start with the taillights that are on the trunk side of the vehicle. So we're going to start off by installing this big piece first and then move on with this section here. So for this one, we're going to start by applying Slip Solution onto the taillight lens and Slip Solution onto the film as well. And you want to start off by aligning the tint to the edge of the taillight here. So right on the edge. And as you are aligning it here, also make sure that the film is aligned on the bottom half of the taillight here. So it's not going to curve down onto the taillight, it's just meeting it right on the edge. So it has to feel flat. So now that we have it aligned, all we need to do now is tack down the film. So apply Tack Solution underneath and on top of the film. Make sure it's still aligned and then hold it in position and start tacking it down. And now that we tack down this section, now we can move on and aligning the rest of the film here. And on this edge, we're just going to help it tack down to the curve with Tack Solution and heat. That way the film stays tacked down on this section. So make sure it's aligned and just bring it in and align the film and start tacking it down. To help it tack down, like I said, you could use heat and Tack Solution. So just apply Tack Solution, squeegee to tack it down. Make sure you remove all of the water bubbles behind the film and just add a little bit of heat. That way we help the adhesive activate faster on the side of the curve here. And then Tack Solution and just squeegee one more time to ensure that it's tacked down on this section. And it should be good. Test if it's moving. If it's not, then you're good to go. Now we can move on with this installation. Okay, so now we move on with this installation. So we're going to start by installing the bottom piece first. That way when we install the top piece, we just overlap the film and it aligns perfectly to this section of the taillight. So for this one, just apply Slip Solution to the lens and Slip Solution to the film. And the same steps that we did for this one, just align it right on the edge of the taillight here. So align it right there, leave it in place, tack it down, hold it in place and tack it down slowly. We need to secure this spot first before we move on with the rest of the installation. That should be good. All we need to do now is just stretch the film and make sure it's aligned underneath and it's only covering up to the red portion of the taillight, so it's not going to overlap underneath. So just make sure it's aligned, stretch it, hold it in position and tack it down. And make sure when you're squeegeeing, you're removing any water bubbles behind the film. Okay, and now that this section's tacked down, we just need to finish off this piece here. So same procedure that we did with this one. You're gonna do just a light stretch in order to wrap around the curve here. If it's too dry to stretch, just apply a little bit of Slip Solution, place the film back down, and you could use your palm to stretch the film or with your two fingers like this, whatever is easier for you to grip and stretch the film. So it's just stretching and aligning it like this. So hold it in place, that way the film doesn't move. Apply Tack Solution and we can start tacking down this section of the curve here. You might come across a small little finger here. If you do have a small finger on this section here, just squeegee it down. And if the finger's still popping out, you would apply heat, but right here, the finger's not coming out. Everything's flat and flush, so it should be fine. So just make sure everything's aligned, stretch, and tack it down. Okay, and now just to make sure we secure the film, we're just going to apply a little bit of heat That way the film stays in the position we left it and it doesn't try to go back to its original form. So just apply tack solution and just a little bit of heat, and with your finger start tagging this section down. Okay, and that should be it. Just make sure before we move on to this installation that we sealed the top, that it's not lifting or peeling off. Once we have it secured and we don't have any solution behind the film, then we can move on with this installation. Okay, so now we're moving on to this installation. So to start off, apply slip solution to the tail light and slip solution to the tint as well. And you want to start by aligning it on the edge of the tail light here, like we did with the bottom piece. So right on the edge. And with this one, the film is not going to overlap the bottom piece. It's just going to meet it exactly in the middle. So when you align it, make sure it's aligned on this section here and also aligned in the middle here. So now that we have it aligned, we can start tacking it down. So lift the film carefully, apply tack solution. You could use your finger to help it tack down since it is a small area to work with, but just make sure you keep it aligned. So now that we have most of this section aligned, now we can start tacking it down with our squeegee. Okay, now that we have this section secured, now we could just finish off the rest of the film. So all we're doing now is stretching the film and making sure as we stretch, it's aligned to the taillight design. So just make sure this area is dry in order for you to have grip. So just dry the area and start stretching and aligning the film at the same time until you reach it to this end here. And if you feel that the film is not stretching because it's dry underneath, just go ahead and get slip solution, spray a little bit, bring it back down and stretch the film. So what we're doing now is just helping the film stretch in order to reach it to this end here and make sure everything is still aligned here. And like I said, if you feel that the film is getting dry while you're stretching, just apply a little bit of slip solution once again, dry this piece and stretch the film. And it should cover up to the edge here where we met this tint underneath here. So once you stretch the film and it's aligned, start tacking it down to hold it in place. Grab your squeegee and start tacking it down to secure it in its position. Okay, and then just continue squeegeeing, removing any solution and just helping it tack down to the curve here. And now that we're done here, now we can move on with the next install, which is this one here. Okay, so now we move on to the side rear tail lights, and we're gonna start off by installing this middle piece first. So for this piece, just apply slip solution, and all you're doing is rinse and repeat the same steps from the beginning. Align it from here first, and make sure you have it aligned on the bottom and on top, and it should just fall into place. This one will not need stretching, it should just sit flat. It's not a deep curve, so it should be fine. So now that we have it aligned, apply tack solution underneath and then on top of the film. Hold it in place and start tacking it down. And then just follow along with the rest of the film. Take your time. And now all we're doing now is just making sure we remove any water bubbles behind the film. So just apply tack solution, that way our squeegee can just glide and we're able to remove the solution behind the film. Okay, and now that we finished this installation, now we can move on with this piece. So we're gonna start off with the bottom piece and then finish off with the top piece. Okay, so we're starting off by installing the bottom section of the tail light. So for this one, apply slip solution to the tail light and slip solution to the lens. Place the film just so you could see how it's going to be laid out. And for this one, start off from this edge first, align it, tack it down, and then once we secure and tack down this section here, we could move on with stretching the film and aligning it and just meeting the film up to this edge. So align the film here, so align the film, tack it down. Now that we tack down this section, now we can stretch the film, and as we're stretching, we need to make sure we stretch and align it based on the design of the tail light. So you kind of have to move the film around, going up and down in order to align it and stretch it. So to stretch, apply slip solution, and now we can position the film to the design of the taillight here. Make sure this is dry and start placing it. So it should be like this. Stretch and hold it in place. Grab your tack solution and apply tack solution. Start securing this section. Make sure it's aligned and it's not going too far down. So if you need to fix it, remove the film and align it and just stretch it and tack down. And just apply tack solution to finish it off. And then make sure before we move on with the top piece here, that this top section of the film is sealed. And before we seal it though, just make sure to remove all of the solution underneath the film. So dry it just to double check and see if there's no solution. And if there's none, then you're good to go to install this piece here. So with this section here, it is going to be a little tricky. Reason being because of the design of the taillight here, it does have a deep curve that it goes in and then upward. When you are installing the tint and you're around this section here, you're going to have to tack it down and sort of align it and stretch at the same time in order to help the film be aligned and also tacking it down to this curve. So it's just being precise basically with this part. So start here, work your way here, help the film curve and align it here. And then we're just going to do a stretch to finalize and meet it to this edge of the taillight. So to start, apply slip solution onto the taillight and then onto the tint film and align it first on this edge. So make sure it's aligned. Now that we have it aligned, lift the film slowly and apply tack solution. That way we could anchor this section of the film and then work our way to the other section. So just hold it in position and start tacking it down. Okay, now that we have this section down, now we're just going to continue with the rest of the film. So like I said, it's just aligning, stretching, and going section by section. So make sure this is still tacked down. If you feel that it still needs some type of support to help the adhesive activate faster, that's when you can apply heat, but just with that should be good. So now that we're done here, just add a little bit of slip solution, place it back down, make sure this area is dry so we can have a good grip on the film, and just stretch and tack it down. So as you can see right here is where the curve part happens. So we need to take our time in tacking this piece down. So just hold it in place for now, apply tack solution and start tacking it down. So we're just working section by section. That way we help the film form to the curve and we're helping it tack down as well. So now that we have this piece down, now we're going to focus on the curve design of the taillight. So just continue, hold it in place and make sure it's still aligned and start tacking it down. Take your time, there's no need to rush it. You might feel air here. To tack down this section here, we're going to use heat and tack solution just to help the adhesive activate on the curve here. But first we just need to secure this section here. Okay, so now that we have this section tacked down, now we can move on with this side here. Okay, so to finish off, we just need to make sure everything's aligned and tacked down. So just stretch the film and just continue where we left off, stretching and tacking it down. And if you need help tacking it down because the area is dry, just apply tack solution and that would give us more support in order to tack down the film here. Okay, and now that we finished this whole section, now we could come back to this part of the curve and just apply tack solution and heat to help this section just tack down to the taillight. So just apply tack solution and with heat, we can start working this section down. And then with these small fingers, it's just doing the same thing, applying tack solution and just a little bit of heat, and we're able to remove the fingers on this curve here. And it should look smooth like this. So it's just taking your time. It's just making sure this whole area is flat and also this top piece here. And once you're done, The final thing to do is just post heat the film. That way we help the adhesive cure faster and it sticks better to the tail light. Okay, so the last thing to do once you finish with the installation is just post heating the film. So to post heat, you're gonna need your tack solution, and all you need to do is spray tack solution on the film, and make sure you focus on spraying on the areas where we help the film match the other film, or any edges as well, and also where we overlap the film. And this is just so when we use the heat gun, it doesn't accidentally burn the film. And with our microfiber towel, we just go around and start helping the film tack down more better. So go section by section when you're post heating, and then after that, you should be done. Okay, so that concludes the installation video for the Taillight tints for the 2023 BMW 330e. We hope that this video helped you guys out with the installation. If it did, don't forget to drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell. That way you don't miss any upcoming installation videos. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.